Hey guys, what's happening? Aaron here. Well, moving right along with Year 5 reviews, looks like Guwange is up next. Now this is probably one of my more favorite cave titles that they ever did. It came out in 1999, and it just has a really interesting art style to it. It's very similar to like S-Braid. It's the same sort of sprite detail level, but just in the time period it takes place in, I think really just makes it a really interesting game from Cave's library altogether. Unfortunately, this is actually the second to last Cave game I'll ever be reviewing. The only one I have left after this is Ibarra, and that'll be it. But we'll see how this one goes. It's a pretty fun game overall. I really like it. I've been playing it for almost since it came out, pretty much, and when I became a Cave fan. So I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for watching.
Cave is very well known in the shoot-'em-ups community. As you probably know, I'm a huge Cave fan. I've reviewed plenty of their games in the past, but today's gem is one of the few left that I haven't done yet. And luckily, it's one of their classics. 1999's Guwange. A vertical shoot-'em-up stylized from the Muromachi period in Japan. It features many of the shoot-'em-up basics. You choose your character, move around, and blast stuff as waves of enemies continue to assault you. You have the choice of 3 different characters, each having their own firing characteristics and abilities. These are Shishin, Kimono, and Hiragi, each having a different shot type and each having a different Shikigami, or spiritual helper. There is also a super attack or bomb type attack as well, that deals massive damage to anything in its path. Each character has a different intro and setup for their individual story, as well as a unique ending one when you complete the game. You travel through the usual 5 stages, each having different enemies and environments. You'll notice off the bat that many enemies are humanoids in nature, but then, as the game progresses, the enemies become more horror-themed, and more outlandish, almost even nightmarish. From flying demon heads, to killer whales, to I have no damn idea what these are. Each stage features an end boss, and most are just as weird and scary looking as many of the enemies. Like the giant cat tarantula! Jeez, that scream it makes just pisses the fuck out of me. The art style is very reminiscent of Cave's previous vertical shooter, S-Braid, but obviously the art sets have been changed to fit the time period. Besides your normal shot, by holding the shot button down, you activate your Shikigami, or basically your spiritual aid, that floats around and drops bombs on everything. The nice thing about using the Shikigami is that you are able to attack enemies or other creatures that would normally be out of your range, or even not in your line of sight. Using this ability is also key to high scoring in the game, as bullets are slowed down when in range of your Shikigami, and can be converted into coins. There is a chain meter in the upper left hand side of the screen, and it functions basically like other chain meters in other Cave titles. The storyline is simplistic enough. During the Muromachi period in Japan, which is circa 14th century give or take, many people have become possessed by Shikigami, or spirits. Although they grant tremendous spiritual power to the possessed, they also take a physical toll on them, killing the person 1 year after possession has taken place. A legend has been heard that a malevolent god is imprisoned in a nearby mountain, called Guwange. If someone gathers the 5 elemental talismans, earth, metal, water, fire, and wood, from 5 demons serving Guwange, and then defeat Guwange, the curse of the Shikigami will be lifted, and that person won't die. Seems easy enough, huh? I can't talk about this game or even do a review without mentioning the music. The soundtrack for this game is probably in my top 10 Cave soundtracks of all time. It has a very traditional Japanese orchestration, with many conventional instruments and percussion used. It also has a very somber mood for the majority of it, and it very much lends to the overall setting of the game, which is one of death and monsters and evil. I mean, hell, even the chain meter is made out of rotating skulls. My favorite would probably have to be Underworld Cherry Blossoms. It's a very nice piece of music, perfectly fits the game. But for some odd reason, I've always felt it should have been used in Okami, if that makes any sense. Like, it feels like it should have been an unused track from that game, if that makes any sense. Lastly, it's an interesting note, but Guwange is actually the last game that Cave released using the Motorola 68000 CPU arcade board. After this, obviously they switched to Capcom's CPS2 board for Pro Gear, then Poly Game Master for a few games, before finally ending on the CV1000B. It's because of this shift in arcade hardware that Guwange, and indeed the few games that came before it, have a very particular art style. It's a simpler art style compared to many later Cave games. But that doesn't mean it's any less fluid or awesome to look at. In fact, I think some of Cave's best sprite work came out of this era. Hopefully after watching this review, you'd agree with me. Really, the only main beef I have with this game, and strangely, this is the only Cave game where this exists, but the scoring is all in Japanese. Like, what the fuck? That's why I've never really taken scoring seriously in Guwange, because I can't fucking read it! Overall, Guwange is a fantastic shooter from pretty much the greatest shoot-'em-up company that ever existed. It possesses a terrific art style, has great music, good gameplay, and nice effects. It has been ported to the Xbox Live Arcade, with a few new modes added, as well as a mobile port for Japan. Sadly, it never got a physical CD release, or DVD release, I should say. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, go check it out.